What's up, everyone? As we near Election Day, there is one thing we can be sure of. We don't know what is going to happen next, and while we continue to hope and pray for the best, we must also prepare for the worst. That's why, at a minimum, you should get the 4-week emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. It has everything your family could need during a crisis. With over 2,000 calories per day, there is enough to go around during times of social unrest, government crackdowns, and God forbid an attack on the homeland. The food lasts up to 25 years, so you can be ready whenever disaster strikes. I don't want to take my family's safety for granted, and neither should you. Right now, you can get $50 off the same 4-week emergency food kit that I keep in my home. Go to preparewitheddy.com and save $50 on your 4-week emergency food kit, and My Patriot Supply will send it over as fast as humanly possible. My order showed up in one day and it shipped for free. Get your 4-week emergency food kit now at preparewitheddy.com. That's preparewitheddy.com. Thank you, and God bless.
Welcome to Shoot Me Straight. Dave Fields here with Eddie Gallagher. Today we're taking some Q&A questions, and we got a solid...
We got some good ones.
Yeah. We do have some really good ones.
So yeah, Dave and I do these every once in a while, just because we want to definitely converse with the listeners and answer whatever questions that you may have. You know, we get up here and we have guests, and you hear us run our mouth about certain things, and mainly it's about the guest every time they come on. But we do get questions every once in a while in the comments, so this is our way of answering those questions and keeping a conversation with the listeners going.
You want to start with that one?
Which one?
The one that just came in. That's
the movies?
Yeah.
I like this one, dude. All right. This is from Evan Peters. Do you agree with the general consensus that they don't make movies like they used to? I do agree with that consensus. I'm a big movie buff, dude. I grew up, the big bonding me and my dad had growing up is he would take me to movie theaters and we'd go see movies together all the time because he was a big movie buff. So movies were a huge part of my life growing up. And then I think, in this day and age, it's hard to find a good movie with some real, just a good plot, good dialogue. Everything seems to be, CGI, how much CGI we can put in a movie, and how, awesome can we make this look, which in the end they do too much and it just looks like garbage half the time. But then also
all the jokes are just sex jokes. It's just sex jokes.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's comedy, but I definitely think throughout the past 5 years, maybe a little bit more, the talent of making a good movie has just gone away, and a lot of that is due to the narratives and agendas that are pushed through Hollywood, and that the woke culture, you can't, make fun of this, or you can't talk about this, or we're going to push this narrative, and that's why you see every movie or series that comes out now has some LGBTQ, narrative being pushed into there, which whatever, it is what it is, but I just think it's too much. Yeah. They're trying to normalize it.
They did it in a cartoon that I took my kids to. It was a cartoon movie, and they had the little boy had a boyfriend, and my kids were like, "What?" I'm like, "We're leaving."
Yeah, and that's and that's the best thing. You have a choice.
Yeah. Do
you want to sit there and watch it, or you can leave? But I will say this though, dude. I think movies are there are movies that it's making a comeback.
Yeah.
Andrew and I went and saw the new Alien.
Okay.
And I don't know if you watch Aliens?
I did growing up. I haven't seen the new one.
So were you a fan of Aliens growing up?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm a super geek when it comes to aliens, right? That was one of the first movies my dad took me to was Alien. I was 5 years old. Probably not a movie you should be taking a 5-year-old to, but I became infatuated with that. And obviously Aliens, when that came out with Sigourney Weaver, was just badass. And I watched them. There was probably 5 of them. And there were ones that they got a little out of control. But the one that just came out, dude, I vouch for it. It's back to the first one.
It was really cool, really like suspenseful and scary. All brand new, like young actors and actresses, and they were all really good in it. I was impressed, man.
Yeah.
So that gave me hope. I was like, all right, dude,
Yeah.
they're starting to come back with some good movies, and there's actually a lot of good previews coming out now because.
Also, Top Gun.
Oh,
Top
dude.
Gun remake was really
Yeah,
good.
Top Gun was, but like that was one movie out of hundreds that were made that
Yeah.
year that was like, oh shit, we have one,
Yeah.
you know. And that one did so well because it wasn't pushing any woke agenda narrative. It was pushing the United States is awesome, you know, our military is awesome, and you know we're a bunch of badasses, and which is what we want to watch. We want to see that. We're like to have pride in your country and to like, you know, get behind it. It was very patriotic, I thought, which is why it did so well. But yeah, there's a bunch of good movies coming out, dude. Like Gladiator 2
Yeah, I saw
with
that.
Denzel. That looks sick. Forget
There's Brad Pitt.
the Joker 2
Yeah.
with Joaquin Phoenix. That looks good. I mean, I think it's starting to make a comeback.
Yeah.
And then I think they're trying to drive people back into theaters. So, because obviously during COVID and the pandemic, going to the theater sort of went away.
You know, a lot of people seem to. I love going to movies.
Same. It's,
It's date night.
yep.
Okay, next one. We'll take this one because the other ones will some of these other ones will be more of a military threat for you. Please tell me if you believe, I think this is what he's trying to say,
Or she.
please tell me if you believe in sharing phone passwords with partners. That's how cheating, I think she's trying to say, it's how cheating starts with secrecy, or like holding passwords.
Yeah. Yeah, Andrea has all my passwords, and yeah, we don't hide anything. And that is a form of cheating, I guess, if you are scared to show your partner what you're looking at on your phone or
Yeah.
what you're doing on your phone and you're keeping it to yourself, then that, I guess, is a form of cheating.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see it, like, if I wanted to look at Andrea's, like, hey, what do you, not that I would, like, ever encroach and be like, I want to see what's on your phone, because that's another form of, like, distrust, I think. We both trust each other, but if I was like, hey, can I see some on your phone, and she was like, no, like, you can't, then obviously that would bring up questions of, like, okay, why can't I look on there? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? What do you have on there that you don't want me to see, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So no, we don't hide anything. It's the same thing with our bank accounts, everything. We share
Yeah.
everything. 'Cause I believe that's how a marriage should be. I understand some people do the whole prenup, and I guess there's probably points to that. I guess if you're like a multimillionaire and you know, I guess you've been screwed over before, and you're like, I don't know. But at the same time, I think a marriage is where you share everything. Like, it's a team. You're a team. It's a team effort, and you don't hide anything from each other.
No, I agree. We share the same too. I think there's, if I was going into Fran's phone and trying to look at all her text messages or stuff, like there's something else going on there that needs to be addressed. There's a deeper issue of distrust that I
And
need
that's
to look
something,
at.
yeah, and it's probably something to do with you, not her.
Yeah.
Right? If
Yeah,
you're
probably.
scrolling through somebody's phone, trying.
Yeah.
It's almost like the same concept of like you're trying to look for something negative, you know, if you're scrolling through their phone or something that's going to like, oh, I'm going to get them on something.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's the same thing as scrolling through comments in the comment section, and you have all these positive comments, but you're looking for that one to like set you off, you know, which people do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I don't know if you want to answer Travis.
Would you ever have any of the sewing circle on? That would be a tough one, man. There'd have to be a long, hard conversation beforehand, before I would have any of those guys on. I mean, I think the tougher question is, would I even have a conversation with them off air?
Yeah.
And that, I don't think, maybe I would. Yeah, I think I would. I'd be willing to sit down but it would be hard because if they haven't changed their stance or like they're still going forward with their BS, then it would make it real hard to sit there and have a conversation.
Yeah.
It would probably turn physical. It would, or go veer towards that way if the wrong thing was said. But I think if we had a conversation beforehand and they were like, hey, it's what happened in the past, there were some mistakes that were made, whatever, and then we'd like to address them and talk to them. I mean, we took Corey Scott on team, what was that, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yep, and if those that don't know the story, he was
originally
part of the sewing circle, but then broke away and actually did the right thing and went and testified, and he was the one that was like, hey, I did it. Dave and I and some other buddies went hunting with them in Texas and got to spend like 2 or 3 days with them. And he was willing, he wanted to come on and talk about everything that happened. We just haven't made it happen yet. But when we do, that'll be a very interesting conversation for sure.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's very thoughtful. It's what's wild with still such different personalities within teams. You'll have different guys. He's I almost picture him more as like an engineer type.
Yeah, he's very smart, but very chill, calm. Just I guess not as intense as you would think. As people make all SEALs out to be. But yeah, I think that we'll let you guys know. If we can make that happen in the future. Definitely, I would love to have him on because I think that would be a great discussion. Just a lot of insight on what was going through his mind, and I'd like to just get his view on why all that started. And I'm ready to take some hits on it too. Hear about the things that he didn't like that I did that maybe could have started it, and I think that would be a great conversation to have.
Yeah. We'll see if we can't make that happen.
Yeah.
Are you helping Captain Brad Geary? I listened to him on Sean Ryan's and couldn't believe it.
So we are not directly supporting, our foundation is not directly supporting Brad Geary. We are supporting the doctor he was talking about that is also getting screwed over, Dr. Eric Ramey. But if you look at the situation as a whole, we're supporting Dr. Eric Ramey, which is also helping Brad. And what Brad's doing is he's taking the fight on his own. He's going to Congress, banging on doors, getting people to listen, and in conjunction, he's helping Dr. Eric Ramey as well. For those of you that don't know the story, I would definitely go check out Sean Ryan's podcast with when Brad Geary was on there. It's a very well done interview. I thought that Brad did a phenomenal job explaining what exactly was going on. I'll give you the short and sweet of it. A Bud student by the name of Kyle Mullen died after Hell Week, right after he finished Hell Week 2 years ago. I think he ended up collapsing. And as always, the Navy does an investigation on why this happened. And Kyle's mom went high order, which that's her son, and she wanted answers, but she went far to the right, and she was attacking the Bud's curriculum, saying that all they do is torture people and we kill people there, and this is the reason her son died, and negligence of instructors, this and that, which is not the case. What happened is they did a search of the vehicles afterwards of all the students, and they found an abundance of steroids, among other medications in Kyle's vehicle. They did the autopsy. Kyle's heart was 60% larger than normal, which is an indication of doing too much steroid use, HGH, whatever. And he's not the only one that was taking the steroids.
Sure.
And, and that's, those are the consequences of what, if you try and take the easy route, or it's straight up cheating, of trying to get through buds with steroid use. And really, people do it and make it through, but unfortunately for him, there was dire consequences. And I think that the mom, this is the other fact, is the mom wanted that stricken from everything after they found all that stuff. So the Navy hid it, and they investigated it 3 or 4 times, and each time they kept pushing that aside. And then they were basically going after the CO, the commanding officer of BUDS, which was Captain Brad Geary, and then the medical officer who checks out all the students, which was Dr. Eric Ramey. And those are the 2 people that they're hanging out to dry and trying to ruin their careers. I will say that Dr. Eric Ramey is facing grave consequences. If they find him guilty, he will lose his medical license. And this is a guy who has been around the SEAL community for a long time. I remember him being there when I was at Team 7. Phenomenal dude, just, great doctor, always looking out for the guys. And, if they take away his medical license and kick him out, it's like everything he's done his whole adult life doesn't exist anymore. So that is the fight that we were getting at. I'll give an update real quick. I talked to actually Brad last week, and they went to Congress. They got over 60 signatures from congressmen and women to take to the Secretary of the Navy and sort of pressure him to drop this and let these guys retire with everything that they have earned over their careers instead of ruining them. So we are in the fight still. Brad is doing his thing, and then we are supporting Dr. Eric Ramey. We're fighting for him, and we're hopefully this will come to a conclusion soon with these guys both able to retire and get on with their lives. I hope that answers the question. I'm definitely in support of Brad Geary, but our foundation is supporting Dr. Eric Ramey.
Yeah. All right, next one. With elections coming up, what would you advise Texans to consider about Dan Crenshaw?
That the guy's a snake, I guess. Listen, the guy is obviously a politician. He knows what to say, when to say it. He'll, flip-flop. Whatever way the wind's blowing is where he's going. But politics aside, the guy's character is what you should be looking at. Who is this guy as a man, as a husband, as a father? Does he do the right things? When no one's looking? And I guarantee you, if you go ahead and start looking at him and what he's doing on the outside, you'll find out that this man has a flawed character. He's shown it over and over. I won't get it too much. I don't want to sit here and bash this guy. I will just say the dude's character is flawed, and I would always take that into consideration when voting for somebody. Just because they're like, oh, I'm on the red side or blue side, or whatever side you're on, you shouldn't be voting just for that alone. You should be voting for what is he about. What does he do? Like I said, when the cameras aren't on him, does he stick with his values and beliefs, or do they change for his own benefit? Those are the types of things. I'm not just Dan Crenshaw. I would say any candidate that's running is what I would look at. And just because, and I've said this before, just because he served in the military, which, hey, whatever, good on him. So do so many of the rest of us. So it's not really a big deal. He did get wounded in combat, which is unfortunate, and I don't wish that upon anybody. But I don't think it could have happened to a worse person. He knew what he was doing. He is an elitist. He has an elitist mindset, as do a lot of the Navy officers that come into the Navy. They're looking to climb that ladder to get to a position where they have power and control. And I think that incident where he was wounded helped to propel him forward. He used that to get to where he's at now. I think a lot of people voted for him just on that alone, like, oh, this guy's a war hero, which he's not. And this guy, he was a SEAL, so what? It doesn't matter. There's a lot of, POS SEALs, just like there's a lot of POS people in other organizations. And yeah, the guy has screwed over multiple people, and he is all about himself. I would also look at how much money he's making while he's in Congress. Everybody sits there and bags on Nancy Pelosi for doing the insider trading. Well, guess who else is doing it that's literally making almost as much money as her? Dan Crenshaw. So if someone, and guess what? It's not illegal. That's what they've come out and said. Like, it's not completely legal, but it's wrong. It's morally and ethically wrong. But he chose to do it, which says a lot about his character. So I would just take that into consideration, man, before casting my vote. Look at the person, not who they represent.
All right, next one. Ready?
Yeah.
How did you get past anger, betrayal, frustration of the last few years? It's been like 5 years, right? 5?
Yeah, it's been about 5 years since I've been out. I would say patience and time. It's. I wouldn't say I'm like completely past it, but I haven't thought about it in a long time or like dwelled on it. Every once in a while it'll come up. It's just, and that's, the mind is a powerful thing, and sometimes it's like, oh, what about this? You got screwed over here, and what about that? And those are times where you can either let your mind control you and be like, and start getting angry again. But I have enough self-awareness now that when that starts happening, I'm like, all right, I just need to like think about something else, or pray about it. Like, hey, I'm starting to feel angry. God, take this from me. I don't want to feel this way. I felt angry for a long time when I first got out, and I will say rightly so. I think anybody would be angry in that position, but it doesn't. It does no good for me. At least that's what I figured out. It wears on everybody that loves me because they can see it, and they're just like, why are you feeling this way? Look where we live, look what we have, this and that. So I had to come to grips with that and really start working on myself, learning to get past it. And and I have, I'll say I have forgiven, but saying it and feeling it are two different things, right? And I want to say, like, yes, I've forgiven, I've moved on, but those feelings come back every once in a while, right? And I just have to learn to control those and get past them. And I think that's how forgiveness truly works. You can say it all day long. I think the only person that could say it and truly mean it is Jesus. But for the rest of us, we're human beings. I think saying it's the first step. It's like, yes, I forgive them.
Some of us are Irish.
Yes, and some of us are Irish, and we have tempers, and we're stubborn, for sure.
He beats me up. That's how he gets over it. He just takes it out on me.
You're the perfect punching bag. But yeah, I've done a lot of work on it. Done a lot of talk. Talk to people about it.
Honestly, the Truth About Transition series is where you're talking in detail of all the different stuff you've done.
Yeah, done a lot of different treatments. But I can't say, I'm gonna be completely honest, like, yeah, if you put me in a room with one of those dudes and they were still piping off about the same thing, it would be hard for me not to do something, right? Just because of what their actions did to my family, and that's what really hurts me the most, is what my family had to go through. Even though they're fine, they're good, we've moved on. It's just, I think that's part of being a man, I guess, is, doing the protector thing, and but being a protector and then actually seeking vengeance are two different things. Mm-hmm. So I'm just learning to move on and not let the vengeance side of my my brain take over, which is hard to do. It's a lot of, I lived, the past 20 years of my career was based around vengeance, for 9/11 and this and that, right? So it's just trying to rewire my brain in a different way.
Yeah, I'd say you probably maybe never be 100% completely over everything, but I feel like you crossed over a line though, where you don't think about it, dwell on it.
No.
You're not. When you first got out, you probably did.
Oh, every day.
Yeah.
Every day it was like consumed me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the hard work, is just getting to a point where I've moved past it. I don't have to think about it, and I just use our story in a positive light instead of, focusing on payback.
Yeah. Any advice for becoming a medic?
We need good medics. So I would definitely, if you have an interest in it, that's the first advice I would give you. I'll tell you this, I did not have any interest in becoming a medic. I went into being a medic by accident. I literally signed up for a job in the Navy that I was told that would get me into BUDS training quicker, and that was being a corpsman. I had no idea what a corpsman was when I signed up. Which shows you how stupid I was back then too, and ignorant, until I finished boot camp, and they're like, no, I thought a corpsman was like an engineer or something, and they were like, no, it's a medic. And so that's how I got introduced in the medical field. But I definitely, the more I got into it, I like it. It's not something I would pursue, but I wanted to pursue outside of my military career, but I did like being a medic. If you ask my teammates, I definitely wasn't a empathetic medic.
Yeah, how was your bedside manner?
Not that great. It was a lot of suck it up, you're fine. Oh, your leg hurts, and so does mine. Keep going. But it came down to like what I was really good at is like really the trauma part.
Someone got shot.
Yeah, treating stuff like that. I was definitely, keyed in on how to do all those treatments and take care of the individual.
Is that a big part of how come you're grateful for having that training now, is because in the field when a buddy got shot or whatever, you're able to help your teammates?
Yes. Oh yeah. Like when you're in a SEAL platoon, at least when I was coming up, everybody bags on the medic, because you really don't have, it's an important job, but you're not part of day-to-day operations. You're like, you have all these other jobs in the platoon that guys are in charge of, like the boats and motors and the dive equipment and all the weapons and this and that, and then I'm in charge of the medical gear, which pretty much stays the same until you need to use it. So everybody's like, oh, but I'll tell you what, you're the most important job when somebody needs you, and that's an awesome feeling. Not that I don't want any of my teammates to get hurt, but if they did, then yes, I'm the one treating them, and I'm the one like getting them medevaced out of there and making sure they're good to go, and that's a big responsibility. And it's an awesome position to be in.
You're the first immediate response to, and you used it a lot, didn't you?
Not just on my teammates. I used it more on Afghans and Iraqis. We would treat women and kids over there. Those skills came in useful everywhere we went. And I'll say this, and this is just more for the military side, or being in special operations, the medical qualification is awesome, because no matter what, you are going on every op.
Yeah.
That is needed on every operation, is like you have to have a medic. So sometimes, they can only take a certain amount of people on an operation, so they're cutting guys out, but the medic has always got a spot. So take that for what it is. It's an important qual to have. Definitely a heavy responsibility. But on the civilian side, my daughter's in nursing school right now, Ava, and she's loving it. And it's just, I can't think of like a better skill to have than being able to help and treat people when they need it. So I would say if that's something that you're interested in, start with the basics. And I don't know, Alex, I don't know how far you've gotten along into it, but if you are interested in that, start with the basics, do CPR class, and then start diving into maybe a little TCCC class, learning how to treat certain injuries and wounds, how to apply a tourniquet properly, and then just start working your way up and really understand everything that goes on inside the body. When
Can you get certain, like, is there like leveled up certification? I'm sure there are, where you just start with like a basic medic?
Yeah, you can go through the basic course, or basically like I talked about, the CPR thing. That's a basic certification anybody can get.
Yeah.
And that class, it should only take a couple days to actually learn it, or a day, really. You could do it in a day. And then from there, start working your way up into learning a lot more about trauma medicine. The big thing that I had trouble with, and so did my daughter, was pharmacology and all that. So I would start looking into that, unless you're really good with numbers and math. But if not, then I would start looking into all that as well. But just like any other occupation, dude, if you're interested in doing it, start prepping yourself ahead of time. And try to be as best prepared before you do go to med school or nursing school or whatever.
No. All right. Do you have any others? I think that's all I have.
Yeah, those are the ones. What about you, Dave? I'm gonna ask you some questions.
Yeah, I love
Why
hearing this from.
Are you gay?
I don't know, it's a mystery. This is great. I love our audience asking questions, and I don't expect the audience to be like, oh, like, I really want to hear some computer science stuff.
They should, because I don't know shit about what you do, like how you do it. It's literally like a gem.
Yeah.
The amount of knowledge and experience that you have. I can't speak to it. Even when you do start speaking it, I'm like, half the time, like, you speak in Chinese.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. But I know a lot of people that come here, and the guests that we have on that are starting businesses or want advice, you're the man to go to.
No.
For
Well,
sure.
that's a big reason us doing it together. I mean, I want to be able to start businesses and companies without men and women that protect our country and the freedoms.
I'll ask you a question.
Go ahead.
What do you think about the second assassination on Trump?
Man, I feel like you almost have to have no job at all to like keep up with stuff. I try keeping up and reading everything, but then I'll read different things that are coming out. I'm like trying to figure out what to believe in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard for me not to believe that. Well, here's some things I do know. I know that people that hate Trump, I mean, there's Trump derangement syndrome is real.
Yeah.
And there are people that, for real, have very deep vested interest in getting him out and not getting him elected. And to kill him, that they will if they can. And so, I don't doubt that it wasn't inside job. I mean, the dude was in a Black Rock commercial, wasn't it?
That was the first guy.
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the second one that just happened a couple days ago, or 3 days ago.
I don't know much of the background. What do you know from it?
Well, I know that what I've heard is, yeah, this guy was set up at the golf course with an AK, and I forget, he had a couple other things, GoPro and some other stuff on him. Secret Service spotted him, I think. This is what I heard, and this could be whatever, and they fired some rounds at him and he took off, but they finally caught him. They arrested him. But yeah, he was trying to kill Trump.
Yeah.
And I think what I think is crazy is the fact that this is the second assassination attempt on a president, and then somebody that's running for president again, and it just seems to be business as usual. Like, people are like, yeah, well, all right, there's it blows, I don't know, it just like blows my mind that we're at this point where it seems like stuff like this is just like, oh yeah, another crazy day in election season, where I'm like, this is kind of a bigger deal than I think we're making it out like. We're making it out to be like, oh yeah, this is normal. I'm like, this isn't normal. Has there been 2 assassination attempts on a?
He's not even a sitting president. Maybe.
No, he's running for president. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm like, dude, where? You know, I don't even know. I'm not going to start bagging on Secret Service or whatever because I don't know the whole thing. But I'm like, bro, this guy needs 24/7, like top-notch security now. I mean, this is the 2nd attempt on his life. I think you just hear about this in other countries that this goes on, and now it's happening here. And I hear people blaming the left and they're like, oh, the rhetoric and this and that. I mean, the rhetoric goes both ways.
Yeah.
So
it's the people.
It's just
people behind all that.
Yeah, and I think, the rhetoric to me is like both sides act like children when it comes to attacking each other. I don't see professionals up there, or just professionals in general when it comes to, people that are representing right or left. It's just a bunch of like, you're the worst. No, you're the worst. No, you're going to destroy this country. No, you are. And then there's no policies or even ideas of policies being put in place. I think, I'm going to obviously vote for Trump. That's who I think should be in office. And I do think he does have policies, and I think he's keeping them close to his chest because every time he says one, then Kamala just repeats it like it's her own. So I think they're playing that game. But I'm like the back and forth and like attacking each other's character and making up stuff about each other. I'm like, dude, my kids did that when they were in 4th, grade. It's, you're supposed to, at a certain point, you're supposed to move past that, right? And I think, but that's in my mind, I'm like, that's the degradation of our society, is like we've become numb and dumb, and we're just like, oh, okay, this is how it's like, this is not the standard. We should be holding ourselves to a way higher standard than this. But it seems like we let that slip.
Yeah. I'll be really fearful if Trump doesn't get in office. I feel like with
What are you fearful of?
God, I mean, some of the ideology around, it's pretty communist.
Yeah, do you think that...
And I'm not, honestly, I don't follow a lot that much. Most of what I care about is economics. I feel like there's some math involved there.
Yeah.
I don't know the best social policies. I don't know those answers. I don't know, I don't think, maybe neither side has some of the best answers around that, but with economics and there's at least good or better answers. Like it's having a free market and being able to start jobs and make products and build wealth, build a lifestyle here. To me, that's pretty, and not print tons and tons of money or shut down markets. That's a lot of what's happened in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And I don't think that would have happened I don't think that would have happened if Trump was in.
No.
I don't think that it wouldn't have played out like that. But I love Elon Musk stepping up and talking about it. He's not really, and you talk about someone that would have been probably more left-leaning, and he is now super supportive of Trump because his main thing is freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the old school tech guys. If there was one thing they joined around, it was the ability to have their own ideas and to put them out there and share and talk about them. The early days of the internet was all about freedom of speech, and he comes from that era. And so Elon Musk is very much about protecting freedom of speech.
Yeah.
That's what's got him into this, and the censorship. And I mean, he literally bought Twitter X so that he could make it uncensored and let people.
Aren't they like canceling X now in certain countries, or you get fined for even going on there?
I think Brazil,
yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's nuts. But that's what also is nuts, dude, is seeing like the flip-flop of the two parties to where what blows my mind is you have, was just like last week, Dick Cheney, George Bush, and I forget who else, they endorsed Kamala.
George Bush did.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But then you have Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK endorsing Trump, which those were like, it's like we flip-flopped. And dude, Dick Cheney is like, he was the devil for the Democratic Party. Like, they hated him, and rightly so, dude. Like, I think he's evil as well. But to see like him endorsing Kamala and everyone's like, all right, you know, on that side, it's like, dude, this is the exact guy who was one of the main factors of the GWAT, the 20-year war that we were in, and he was one of the first ones like, this is how I'm going to make money off of this. So it just, I mean, we're, like we've said, we're an upside down world. We have been, I feel like, for the past couple of years. Nothing makes sense.
How many days till the election? We got, what, 60?
Around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
60 more days of lunacy.
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. You voting for Trump?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I think of that, but then I also look at, okay, where would we go outside the U.S.? And I still think we have the best country in the world.
By far.
You know?
By far. Like, there's every other
It can
country
get a
has
lot
its
worse.
problems, and a lot worse than ours.
And you know that, I mean, so much more than I do from spending all that time in third world countries.
Yeah. I mean, there's...
You talk about corruption.
Even with all this lunacy that's going on, and just, we have the best country by far. I think just the problem with our country is we are slowly slipping a little bit, and we've become weak, just as a society in general. And when I say that, I mean, like, we have let our standards go. We have let our values slip. And I get it, everyone has different values, but just like values as a country, I think those have been eroded. You know, like, or the fabric of what makes our country great has been shredded over the past, slowly shredded down to like nothing. It's still there, but it's hanging on. And I think, if we keep going in the direction that we're going in, then yeah, we will no longer have that fabric of what made this country great and what we stand for. So yeah, I think we need someone to get back in office and bring back the standard of what it means to be an American, what it means to love this country, and what it means to be in this country, and that you should be being a provider in some way. To make this country great.
You remember right after 9/11, I think statistically it was like one of the most united as a country we'd ever been right after it.
Yeah,
remember when Bush got up and I think he was up on the rubble on Ground Zero, and that guy yelled at him and he was like, "We can't hear you," and he's like, "The whole world's gonna hear you soon." And like, I remember that speech. It's one of the most iconic speeches, and I remember him that night. I think the whole friggin' United States was glued to the television, listening to him come on and go. I think he quoted Psalms, I believe. I think he quoted David, like, walk through the valley of the shadow of death. But just talked about, hey, right now we're mourning, but soon, we're gonna find them.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was like one of the most united as a country. I mean, everyone was so patriotic. I mean, even when Obama was in office and he came up and announced that they'd found Osama and killed him. I mean, there was celebrations all throughout the United States, you know, with people
Yeah.
yelling USA and.
But then guess what we did the next day? We're gonna keep going back to war. It's like, we're gonna keep this going.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, I think, you know, I hear that all the time, is like, you know, September 12th,
Yeah.
like, we should all get back to that. And that'd be nice, you know, to get back to that without a September 11th happening,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
But that's what I mean when I talk about the standards and everything, which makes our country great and what we believe in, like, you know, going to fight for that war, for what happened. Obviously, I'm not gonna like look past the fact that yes, we were manipulated some bit, we were lied to, and I think that's where I get a lot of like, whoa, don't you know, you have regrets and like, don't you know, you guys were lied to and aren't you mad about that? I'm like, no, I'm like, when I went to go over there after 9/11, along with thousands and thousands of others that signed up that day, they weren't going over there being like, well, I hope we make the politicians some good money, and I hope that we're, you know, funding the American industrial, you know, the military industrial complex. No, what they were going over there was, I'm going to fight for this country because I love this country, I love what it stands for, and I'm willing to give my life for it. That's why we went over there, not for any other fucking reason. And then, the more you keep going over there, then you're going over there for the men to the right and left of you each time, right? But it's all out of love for Americans and for America itself. And that's what I would like to, you know, get back to. But it doesn't seem like it's possible. I think our country's so divided right now. It has been for a while. So we'll see, man. And at the end of the day, all we can do is pray. Pray about it.
Pray and do a podcast.
Yep. And just on our mouths.
Awesome.
All right, brother. Well, yeah, I hope we answered the questions. You know, you guys got something out of it, and we'll do this again.
Yeah, thank you guys for submitting them.
All right.
All right.
Out.